Okay, great. Well, my name is Kendyl Wright, and I run an experiential agency based out of Dallas, but kind of a hybrid out of Dallas and New York. I spent 14 years in event and PR marketing space, sometimes in sports, sometimes in fashion, really all over the place, but always in consumer products. And I spent 11 of those years in New York City working at a variety of agencies and brands. And 3 years ago, decided to move to Dallas, Texas, closer to my family. Joined a sports agency here and ran their sports marketing teams that did sponsorships and activations for a variety of companies, including Dick's Sporting Goods, Pepsi, New Era. And while I loved it and loved the clients and loved the work, my eyes were kind of open to the structure of agency life. And I really just felt like there was something different and more. And about, I guess, a year and a half ago, or almost 2 years ago, I started looking for other jobs. And really everything, I was like, I've done brand, I've done corporate, I've done agency, like this is just not fitting. And so a year and a half ago, I opened my own experiential firm.
I love it. I love it. So, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Second of all, can you tell us how you came up with the name for your agency?
Yeah, that's actually my favorite part. One of the things that I was really serious about, and no offense to anyone who names their company this, but I didn't want to be like Kendyl Events or KW, marketing. And I have always been very loud, very out there, very ambitious and over the top. And I woke up at 3 a.m. one morning, October of 2018, when I was kind of wrestling with whether to leave, whether to stay, and I was like, oh my God, if I had a company, I would name it Louder Experiences. Like marketing should be loud, and I'm loud, and that's always what, like, I fight against my bosses in my career. And I got on the government website at 3 a.m. to see if that existed and was patented or taken, and it wasn't. And it was the launching moment for me that was like, okay, I need to try it on my own and go. This is all kind of meant to be.
I love it. First of all, I love the name. And
Thank you.
Also, to echo your sentiment in regards to marketing, specifically now since the marketplace is so cluttered, I love the fact that the company name is Louder, because that's what you're doing, right? You're trying to break through the clutter. I love it. So congratulations.
Thank you. It's been really fun, because when people tell me, oh my God, that's perfect for you. And when people who don't know me ask, and then they like tie it all together, they're like, oh yeah, you are kind of out there and loud, and marketing should be out there and loud. And it's been really fun.
Yeah, no, I love it. So you've been in business for close to 2 years now. And as we're all going through these uncharted waters, what are you doing to stay ahead of your clients' needs?
So I would say a lot of my clients, and I just saw, not to skip ahead, but I see a question that says, how are you managing with no live events? One of my challenges with COVID, right, has been that a lot of my clients and a lot of my relationships and the new business development, they're really shuttered right now, right? So it has taken a lot of that pressure off from a business development standpoint. I'm not going to call someone like, for example, at Rock Nation and be like, hey, what live events are you planning? I'd love to pitch you. And so that has been almost a little bit of a relief in COVID, because that's like, as an entrepreneur and as building your business, that's a big issue. But one of the things I've done with those clients is I have a lot of really personal relationships with my clients, my past clients, my friends. And so really just kind of telling everyone, what I'm working on, if they're like brainstorming, or if they're furloughed, what they're kind of brainstorming about, and just continuing to be that creative mind. I was on a bike ride the other day. That's been my main activity during COVID, with a girlfriend of mine, and we were driving past the Arboretum in Dallas, which is on the lake, and I was like, oh my God, the fact that they're not using this for all these like water events that could be social distance, and they could have concerts, they could have videos, and she goes, that never even crosses my mind. So, really just continuing those conversations and making sure that people know that there are alternate ways to do things, to try new things. And then, with my clients who are still open, it's really been just helping them think outside of the traditional touch that experiential, really relates to. One of my main clients is a retail property in North Texas, and we had a brainstorm last week for the fall, and it's really hard for people to grasp, okay, how do I do something experiential that people can't touch, or that I can't drive traffic to? It needs to be organic, that they just see it and engage with it. And so really kind of challenging them and sharing our creativity, and going back to them and saying, oh, hey, what if we did X, Y, and Z? I had a client the other day that was like, I'm so hyped about this. I never would have thought of this. And so really just looking at ways to do things that aren't just virtual events, because that's where everyone has kind of gone to. But the fact of the matter is, people still have to go outside of their homes. People still have to experience things, and even if it's finding an interesting thing to do with a grocery store partnership, because that's the main place people are going.
Right.
It's been really fun to kind of think in a different way than just, okay, we're going to have 100 sports fans here, and this is the swag we're going to give them, and this is what it's going to look like. Saying, okay, how do you engage with those 100 sports fans without requiring them to be present, without having them touch anything, without having staff there to engage them? It's been a challenge, but it's been fun.
Yeah, so I think, you saw Erica's question. She asked how you're managing without live events. And I would think, Kendyl, tell us a little bit about your creative process, because it seems like that's what you're doing, is you're still keeping that open mind, and you're still, fueling your creativity, obviously, since we have no live events.
Yeah. So I'll use a current example, which is I'm working on quote unquote back to school, because that's the season that we're in, and that's what retailers are focused on. And so I got the call from my client that said, okay, when we take down our summer activation, we want it to be back to school themed. And so I got my team on the phone, and we started brainstorming, and I said, my challenge is school is such a hot topic right now. Like, people aren't going back to school. People are going back to school. People are going to school on a computer. They're going to school with mask and temperature checks. I don't want to get into that hot water of, what is back to school. And so that's really kind of the premise we started with what can we do during this time that engages the people who are shopping and eating at this mixed use retail development, that still kind of hits the retailers' promotions that are around, back to school, it's fall, but that also kind of plays on the time we're in and makes things different. And so what we're working on, and it hasn't been fully approved, but what we're working on is kind of like the how to offer things that have been taken away, right? So a back to school shopping spree that you can do privately in one of the stores, or a virtual pep rally, or things like that. So how do we say, okay, here's all the things you would have done if you were traditionally going back to school, and we'll make them easy for you to do, and celebrate this time and make it less awkward and a little more fun.
I know. Well, kudos to you and your team. How big is your team, Kendyl?
So I'm the only full-time employee, which is funny because my goal was to have 2 more hired by December of last year. And now I'm so grateful because I would have been so much more stressed. But I have 6 regular freelancers that jump on, contractors that jump on project basis. And then we staff up per event. So,
got it.
And my traditional event agencies have been more like that as well. Just because, live events require so many people that a lot of our world is on that freelance contract, jump from project to project basis.
Yeah.
Which, as a shout out, is why they're hurting so much right now. But it has been nice to kind of be able to reach out to those people and be like, okay, I have a project. We were on a Zoom the other night, and I was like, this feels like we're back to real work. So that's been interesting.
Yeah, well, hopefully, I don't know. It's like every day we wake up and it's something different, right? The good news for this week is that the NBA bubble has had 0 cases of COVID, so that's a good thing. So I'm now anxious to see what happens with Major League Baseball since those teams are traveling. Sorry, Kendyl, I digress just in terms of, every single day is different. So from your perspective and from your clients, and as you think about 2021, how do you think breaking through the clutter is going to look like in this marketplace when we hopefully return to, let's say, post-COVID?
Yeah, I really have no idea. Does anyone? But it's interesting that you use the NBA bubble, because I texted one of my old sports clients the other day, the pictures of the barbershop that came up.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're just one step away from like bubble activations.
Yeah.
So I think we're headed towards a new normal where, especially in the sports world, brands depend on that to engage with their consumers. They're going to find a way to be like, okay, great, we will hire 4 people on contract, that will go live in this bubble and pass out our hats or our, gear or our headphones. So I think that will be really interesting to watch. I was really excited by the barbershop, geeked out about it. And so I think that will be interesting. And then I think really what I'm seeing a lot of is the exhaustion with the virtual and the Zooms and so really challenging people to think, what is a way that you can adapt what you want to do without having everyone... The transition from traditional to virtual has been so quick that it's been really, a lot of the ones you've seen have been like, okay, we'll just take our program and we'll put it on the internet for 2 hours. Right. And that just doesn't work. And, a lot of people now have been spending 4 months on Zoom all day. And so then they're like, I don't want to spend my Friday evening at a Zoom fundraiser. And so I had a consultation call with a nonprofit last week, and she was talking about how, they wanted to try these smaller, parties of 10 and they send dinner kits to each house and you still buy a table, but it's your quarantine pod. And what she was asking us for was how do you then stream that in? And I said, I feel like you don't need to. They don't need that. Like, you can have the event without having this digital connection. If it is, for her, it was an in-market, nonprofit that they're raising money for. They already have the groups. And so to me, I think that's where we're going to see the big shift, is thinking about things more innovatively than just, okay, let's live stream this for 2 hours.
Yeah. No, for sure. No, I agree with you.
And I do think there will be a return, or my hope is that there will be a return of some of the smaller, intimate experiences, because those are just more controlled. I know that you come from an arena background, so you, and I love a good big experience. But there's also something to say, about like when Twitter first started, and I lived in New York City. I had a girlfriend who was on Twitter at like 11:30 at night, and John Mayer tweeted like, I'm doing this pop-up show. And there were like 12 people in a bar in New York listening to John Mayer play. And I feel like the emergence of some of those like more last minute, secret, or like invite only experiences where you're really getting that true intimacy is going to emerge out of necessity, because we don't know when we're going to be able to have thousands of people in one space. And if there's anything this has shown me, it's that the creators and the entertainers, they're going to continue to create and entertain.
Yep.
Whether we pay them millions of dollars or not, that's been the coolest thing for me, is that they have found so many ways to be like, here's my art, and here's how I'll share it. And I really think they crave that audience. So having those micro events, I think we'll see some of.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree. So great stuff so far. Now we want to pivot to your career insights. What would you share with our audience, key takeaways from your career to date?
I thought about this one a lot. I think for me, the biggest thing is listening to yourself and paying attention to your gut and your intuition. When I first started my career, I was in a tech PR job, and I just knew it wasn't for me, but it was with a global PR firm, and it was a huge global tech client. And everyone was like, just suck it up, stay, you've made it. You're in New York. You're working for this big company and this big client. And I just knew I couldn't do it. And that was before now everyone job hunts. But, I'm in my late 30s. When I was 22, people were not job hunting, and the traditional, or job hopping, and the traditional mentality was stay for life. You get a job and you stay for life. And I left that job after 7 months, and I've never looked back. I've never regretted it. I've never and I continued to kind of follow that like gut intuition. My whole career was like, okay, this is what traditional says, but this is what I feel, and that has really been helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think leaning on other people, and having mentors and peers that you trust and that are smarter than you, has been something that I've always had. Really great mentors that I listen to, rely on, take their advice. But being an entrepreneur has really made me like lean on my network and my people, more than I've always been like, I can do it myself. And now seeing the support and the love from my community, from my old mentors, has been incredible. So I wish I would have asked for more help earlier in my life, or embraced that support. And then the third thing I think is just to always make sure that you enjoy what you're doing. And I think that you don't have, I used to be like, you have to be so passionate about your job. If you're not, quit and find a new one. And now I'm a little more realistic in my older age. But I also think like I really enjoy coming up with these ideas and creating these things and bringing them to life. And I enjoy the challenge of being in front of big brands and saying, hey, I've seen how you're doing this. What if we did it like this? And so that really, even when it's boring or tough or, you know, we're up till 3 a.m. doing a build, I love that. I always have that energy of enjoying, truly enjoying what I'm doing and bringing to the world.
Yeah, well, I love it. And I can tell you that it oozes through you. I'm just so congratulations, on your success, so far. And thank you for sharing the louder experiences with us, because that was actually a great story. Love the origin story. So, Kendyl, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me, Elisa. This has been great. And I've been watching. I know you wave at me when I join. I've been watching whenever I remember to hop on. All of your speakers have been awesome. This is I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I'm so grateful to everyone who has been on. I'm grateful for those of you watching today. Thank you so much. I'm grateful to you, Kendyl, for joining us today. And the one thing that I want to let everyone know is that I actually just last week launched a Kick It by EP group on LinkedIn, because these conversations have been so fruitful for everyone that I want, I want to continue the conversation online. So just, if you want to join, just send me a note. But Kendyl, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching, and have a great day, and we'll talk soon.
Of course. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.